Hello, we're right here on Rosh Chodesh of the 9 days. I want to just discuss something about what's going on in the world, which is referred to as anti-Semitism. Other people who are more astute refer to it as Jew hatred. The President of the United States, thank goodness, has brought that term out very clearly, okay? I want you to digest slowly something about this. Being a lot of people are from a new generation or generations, but this should be remembered. The PLO covenant, which demarcates the ambitions and the ideas of the PLO, and which was propagated to a great degree by Yasser Arafat. You have to know that in that PLO covenant, that it makes it very clear that everything that goes on politically in the world, that is the relationship of the PLO, that organization, and its adherents, will espouse a relationship with any nation or any group based on the following. If any nation will back the strivings, the efforts of the PLO vis-a-vis the Jewish people, the nation of Israel, they will go along with the view of the PLO, these nations. They will be favored nations. They will be friends of the Arab people according to them. Okay? That's number one. If, on the other hand, they are sympathetic to the views of the Israeli people, the nation of Israel, then their friendship with Israel makes them enemies of the PLO and its adherents, and ostensibly to those who they claim to represent, which is another question. That is the basic principle that you must understand of what you're up against. And to those who want to support in part the PLO and go into that morass, into that quicksand, I'm letting you know exactly where you're headed. You're headed to becoming a friend of theirs, which means, in their eyes, anybody who is an enemy of Israel, in part or in complete, agreement with the PLO, they'll get there, right? They grab people who are friends who are partial friends, boycott, this, that, whatever. They'll get there. They'll become partners in the idea of destruction of the nation of Israel and everything that leads up to it, okay? You have to reflect on this. You have to go over and over in your mind that this is the actual situation. This is the reality. Especially if you're a Jew, it's important for you not to accept any ideas which they try to foist on you. One of the people, Mubarak Awad, spoke of nonviolence, and he also spoke of taking the Sahal, the Jewish soldier, make him feel guilty that, he's protecting the state of Israel and containing the efforts of those who wish to destroy it in the final analysis. It's very sneaky. It's very well thought out, and in some cases, especially when you designate yourself as the one who is the victim or the tormented one, it can be very effective. when you appeal to a person's better instincts, their humanity, and you give them a nice, constant dosage of guilt. Okay? It's going to work over time. Just keep repeating it from a lot of different angles. Get the whole world to back you. Whether it's the UN or whether nation by nation. Mr. Arafat did not travel around the world and meet privately with many of the so-called leaders of the world just to have coffee and cake. He was there to tell them, you know these Jews are no good. You know that they cause trouble. You know that they're a bane on society and the entire world. I'm setting the stage. I want you to be on my side. He seems to have done his job quite well. We have leadership now in Israel, which is forging alliances with nations that heretofore, and especially in this area of the Middle East, that were against us totally in our existence. He's been forging alliances with them to see where the real terrorist enemy is. And they're taking upon themselves gradually to be friends of Israel, work with Israel for the common good. These other people have concerns now, the opponents, that these people from the other nations recognize the terrorism of this movement, this unholy movement, this tremendous mistake, this divisive situation, and they know that they're the enemy. And not only that, they're becoming friends with Israel, which makes them hated in the eyes of the opponents of Israel, as we've stated at the outset. You're living in a very, very interesting area, young people. Don't swallow the pablum that they're trying to feed you because they feel you can be influenced. Don't listen to what they're doing. Look and see what they're doing in their own schools, teaching babies and children to hate the nation of Israel, the Jews of Israel, etc., etc. Their proclamations of the incorporeal God are empty, because the God that we believe in, and we spoke about before in Hilchos Kriya Shema, where Yaakov said that he wanted his sons to be clear about the oneness, the incorporeality of God, and at the same time, the derech. Ha'emes is being propagated, but the derech Hashem, you understand, is also being propagated. We should know that there is a code of conduct which is matim, which matches the higher idea. The idea and the action must come together. Otherwise, the action becomes dissolved in insane ideas like a world to come in which some maniac who is destructive and murderous is rewarded with 72 virgins. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. Maimonides discusses the belief of certain elements in his hemisphere in the Arab world whose ideas of the world to come are well known. And obviously he speaks about them in a disparaging tone which they are worthy of hearing. Listen, think what you have, immerse yourself in it, realize the truth and the value of it. Try your best to live it, and then hopefully we will all merit the return of the Jewish people to where they belong, and to the glory and the goodness and the graciousness and the greatness which is their destiny, the destiny of the Jewish people, the Jewish nation.